Daniel Negreanu is looking down at pocket fives. The flop falls a texture that connects with everyone in a unique way. Hockman has flopped middle pair with his 6, but Budiga holds the same pair with a superior ace kicker, plus the backdoor flush draw. Negreanu has missed the board entirely but holds 2 overcards and a backdoor flush draw. Here, Negreanu initiates a fascinating tactical maneuver. He leads out with a donk bet for 12,000. By betting into the pre-flop raiser, Negreanu is attempting to seize the initiative and represent a hand like a small pocket pair or a straight draw to the 4. Budiga, holding top pair with his ace-high kicker, is not going anywhere and makes the call. The turn brings the 3, a card that pairs the bottom of the board and changes the hierarchy of the hands. Negreanu, now picking up the diamond flush draw to go along with his overcards, decides to check. Budiga, wary of the paired board and fearing a slow-played set, also checks back. This allows Hockman to take a stab at the pot. He bets 21,500, likely trying to protect his pair or buy the pot after the professionals showed hesitation. Negreanu makes a calculated call, trusting his flush equity and his ability to outplay his opponents on the river. Budiga, still holding the best-made hand with his pair and ace kicker, also calls. The tension is at its peak as the 3 players head to a massive river with a highly deceptive board. The river is the 10, and it is a total game changer. It is a diamond, completing the flush for both Negreanu and Budiga.
What was that card? Check.
However, the hierarchy is brutal. Negreanu has made a king-high flush, but Budiga has rivered the nut flush with his ace. Negreanu checks, adhering to his disciplined small ball approach. Budiga, realizing he has the absolute best hand, fires a massive value bet of 70,000. Hockman, whose pair of 6s is now worthless, quickly folds. The spotlight falls entirely on Negreanu.
I thought you were going to fold 10s on the turn. Oh, you have 10s full?
He is staring at a king-high flush on a board where a straight or a higher flush is possible.
This is a really hard decision. I'm going to need time. 70,000, huh?
Negreanu analyzes the line and the betting patterns. He correctly deduces that Budiga's line is extremely strong, but a king-high flush is virtually impossible to fold in a main event.
Wow. Or do you have ace-4 of diamonds?
That's pretty spooky. Freakishly close.
It was the toughest decision I've had the whole tournament. Okay, give me a minute.
What would you do in Negreanu's position? Let me know in the comments.
He does call, and loses a huge pot.
Ferdinand is looking down at pocket aces. Peter Jetton opens the action to 2,800 with pocket kings, a standard powerhouse move that quickly escalates into the ultimate pre-flop nightmare. Sitting in the blinds, Ferdinand wakes up with pocket aces and puts in a 3-bet to 10,400, setting a lethal trap. A relentless leveling war ensues as Jetton fires back with a 4-bet of 27,800, only to be met by a massive 5-bet from Ferdinand for 85,400. This is the point of no return.
I'm all in.
Jetton's all in. There's the call.
I have 2 kings.
Oh,
nice.
wow.
Come on, baby, one time, hold up.
I was a little bit worried about that, but...
Dave, you might be in trouble here. Come on, baby, no king. I was hoping you had kings when you re-raised me. I said, you gotta have kings.
Yeah, I'll run it more than once if you want. It's up to you, though.
Not just once, man.
Yeah, I almost just called and then tried to see a flop, but not a lot of flops. I'm gonna get away from anyways, I guess.
Don't worry, this hand will make TV.
Man, what did I say? The only way I can do this is to get kings against aces and get paid.
You didn't get paid yet, so it's not over.
Well, you knew.
I'm gonna tell you something. When he put 17,000 in, he was putting in all his
Oh
money
my God,
in.
this is sick if he hits a king. This is gonna be sick if a king comes, because this is like my shot, you know what I mean?
Well, I have to be honest and say that I'm cheering for a king to come.
I'm sure you are. I almost can't look at this flop, man.
Be very bad news for you, buddy, if he wins.
There's no bad news for me.
He won 129. There's no bad news for that, right?
No bad news for me.
No bad news for me. Only good news for Bobby. That's cool.
I'll get it ready to pay in advance because that's always very lucky.
This is sick. The king on me, man.
The flop. Ace-6-6, it's over. Bobby has a profit of more than 183 grand.
It's not much of a sweat.
This is so cool.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on 6-5 of spades. He opens the suited connector because that's Negreanu's playground hand, cheap, connected, and live. Williams flatting the suited wheel ace is already a headache for anyone who c-bets too often. In position, deep, and with the ace of spades, he's got you in a leash if the board gets wet. Flop comes disaster for most ranges, but both players hit the spade. Negreanu has the baby flush and does the thing he always does in these textures. Small c-bet to fold out air, tax the lone spade hands, and keep the initiative. From his chair, that bet looks profitable against a ton of single spade peels and random overcards that hate life. Williams just calls with the nut spade like he's ordering room service. Why raise when the guy with the microphone wants to keep talking? Let him. Turn is a brick that freezes almost nobody. Negreanu barrels bigger. That sizing is classic. I can still be the boss. Telling the table he can easily have the ace or king of spades, and that worse flushes should pay to see the river. Williams still doesn't accelerate. Flat again. That second call is a quiet message. Nothing you're repping scares me, and I'm not done letting you put money in for me. To Negreanu's eyes, that's a card that changes nothing. He is either the sole flush or Williams has him beat. For that reason, he slows down and bets only 6,000. Williams is not happy with and raises to 36,000, trying to juice his nut flush to the max.
How much more?
30,000 more.
Daniel calls and sees the terrible news.
Welcome to my world.
I had a flush too.
We could have got it all in on the flop.
Jesus.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on 8-6 suited. Calacanis opens to $1,200 with pocket sevens. That raise is standard from middle position. It folds out trash and plays well post-flop. Negreanu flats with 8-6 of diamonds. He is not calling to hit a pair. He is buying position, playability, and high equity boards. This texture massively improves the caller's range relative to the raiser. The pre-flop opener still has all the overpairs, but the callers capture the lion's share of the strong draws and two-pair straight candidates. Negreanu's exact hand is near perfect. He leads $2,500 into two opponents, a small but purposeful stab that pressures ace-high and pocket eights through tens, while charging draws that he blocks and dominates.
Got a little some of that.
This card flips equity on its head. Calacanis spikes a set, but Negreanu's straight also arrives. Importantly, the new straight is very available from the caller's range. Any 6 often peels the flop, so Calacanis' set is strong but not invulnerable. Negreanu bets $7,000. That sizing accomplishes two things. First, it prints value immediately against one-pair overpairs that do not believe, and against sets that fear raising into a straight. Second, it continues to charge diamond draws that are now drawing thin versus a made straight. From a range standpoint, the flat is telling. He is unlikely to have an overpair without redraws to a full house that wants protection. The board pairs. Full houses become possible and, in fact, Calacanis improves from a set to sevens full of fours. Negreanu's straight loses equity versus the portion of Calacanis' range that slow played the turn with boats in mind. But many worse hands still exist.
This is reminiscent of a typical hand for Daniel Negreanu. Let's have the nuts with a redraw and see what happens. Let's pair the board, yeah. God, really? No, gotta be kidding me.
Guess that means you don't have the Jack-9 this time.
No, I had the nuts with a redraw. What'd you make it? How much?
35 more. Only 35 more.
Only 35 more. Why?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
What did you have like, you don't have a set, right? Because you would have raised me?
Yeah, I would have raised it the set. I could have flopped a straight.
Could have flopped straight. Okay, I can beat that. Whew.
I could be on a flush draw. Could be busted.
Yeah, that's true too. 4s and 5s. No, I think you raised me.
Could have quads.
Yeah, you could have that too.
could have aces and just be overplaying them.
I was gonna fold for sure, and now I'm thinking about calling you. So you're doing a good job if that's what you want.
Now I'm gonna be quiet and pretend that's not what I want. Tip the dealer $1,000. I will show it to you. You have to split it with the other dealer.
Oh, guarantee.
That's a good deal.
So, $1,000, you know what I have. You don't have to live and wait till the end of the.
There's the call.
Sorry, not in the hand.
He called it.
Daniel Negreanu looks down to King 10 offsuit, a hand with decent equity in a four-way pot. Against him is Elizabeth Houston, who opens to a Queen Jack offsuit. Let's see who will the poker gods bless this time.
See that? Cheap flop.
Reynolds folds.
Also makes it easier to call this 3-bet from Tony G.
He raises to 2,000. Queen Jack for the cannon. She calls out of position. So does Daniel.
And like that, Williams built himself his own little pot odds.
He calls 2. 4-person party to the flop.
The flop comes 8 Queen Jack Rainbow, which is perfect for Houston. She is looking at top 2 pair with no danger of a flush and only a potential straight or a pocket pair being in her way. Her odds look great, but I think she should have bet harder before Negreanu had a chance to see more of the community cards.
I fold.
Thank you, William.
With the bet sizing being insufficient, even Tony G with his mid pair of jacks that have 2% equity will make the call. The turn delivers the 4 of spades. Things couldn't have been better for Houston. Pocket 4s would have probably folded, same as the pocket 6s from earlier, but she is still afraid of the flush and straight draw. That's why she fires a bet for a bit over half the pot, which I think will be yet again not enough to get Negreanu off his hand.
Daniel's checking out her stack, knowing she probably has something strong enough to lose it all if he does make the nuts.
Negreanu casually calls her $15,000 bet as predicted. But at least Tony G and his adventuristic jacks are gone. Now let's see what the turn will bring for Negreanu. And it is the ace. What a cooler this will be at the end.
That's Daniel's gin card, and this could get ugly for the cannon. I expect her to bet here.
Now she checks.
Somehow she knew to slow down. Daniel's got the nuts. Let's see how much he thinks she'll pay off.
50.
If Elizabeth has watched the show at all, she would know Daniel doesn't bluff raise the river very often. No one does.
If Elizabeth makes this call, she'll have less than 30,000 remaining in her stack.
Call.
Ouch.
She sees it.
Damn it.
Selbst, sitting in the big blind, looks down at a pair of jacks. A strong but tricky hand in this scenario. Facing a raise and a 3-bet, she opts to flat call rather than 4-bet. While a 4-bet would help narrow the field and define her opponent's ranges, it could also bloat the pot and force her into tough post-flop spots if she's up against a hand like queens, kings, or aces. Her flat call allows her to control the pot size while disguising her hand strength, keeping her range wide enough to include potential traps. The flop lands Queen 2 Jack, and Selbst couldn't have asked for better. Her pair of jacks connects perfectly, giving her middle set and a commanding lead in the hand. Chen, holding ace-queen suited, flops top pair with backdoor flush and straight draws, making his hand strong but significantly vulnerable to Selbst's concealed strength. Selbst leads out with 80,000 bet, a sizing that achieves multiple goals. It builds the pot while extracting value from weaker hands like top pair or speculative holdings with equity. Importantly, her bet disguises her hand's full strength. Opponents may interpret it as a standard value bet or even a semi-bluff. Chen, with top pair and additional equity from his backdoor draws, decides to call. From his perspective, Selbst's range from the big blind could include hands like king-queen, queen-jack, or even bluffs, making a fold too conservative. The turn changes the dynamics of the hand with the 8 of diamonds, creating a more draw-heavy board. Selbst still holds the lead with her set of jacks, but the new card introduces a flush draw and enhances the straight possibilities. She increases the pressure with a bet of 150,000. This bet is designed to charge draws like the nut flush and extract further value from hands like Chen's top pair. While the sizing is solid, Selbst may have missed an opportunity to go larger, putting Chen to an even tougher decision. Chen's ace-queen suited improves with the nut flush draw, making his hand significantly stronger in terms of potential equity. He calls the 150,000, which is the correct decision based on the pot odds and his outs to the nut flush. By calling, Chen keeps the pot manageable while preserving his chance to improve on the river. The river delivers the 7, completing Chen's nut flush with ace-queen suited and spelling disaster for Selbst. Unaware of Chen's exact holding but recognizing her set is still vulnerable, Selbst decides to shove all in. However, this move is a misstep. The shove assumes Chen might fold marginal holdings, but his turn call strongly represents a flush, especially the nut flush. A smaller bet, or even a cautious check, could have limited Selbst's losses given the dangerous board texture. Chen barely needs to think. With the nuts, his call is automatic. There's no possible hand on this board that can beat him. He confidently flips over his cards, claiming the massive pot, and leaving Selbst regretting her river shove. Vanessa is looking down on ace-jack offsuit. Pre-flop is a quiet trap that Vanessa sets on purpose. Antonio opens the button light, which Vanessa flat calls from the small blind and Shak completes. By not 3-betting, Vanessa keeps both dominated aces and splashy suited connectors in. Multiway, in position on Antonio and with Shak behind, ace-jack plays beautifully. She wants exactly this kind of pot. That's top pair, top kicker for Vanessa on a very wet texture. Instead of checking to the razor and risking a free card or a check through 3-way, she leads 165K. It's a protection lead that charges every draw and worse jack. Shak's hand is the textbook, raise the donk, candidate, pair plus clubs plus straight equity. He bumps it to 400K, telling a story of strength while leaning on fold equity plus a ton of ways to improve. Vanessa just calls. No reason to blow up the pot against a range that includes bluffs and dominated value. And if she 3-bets, she mostly isolates the strongest stuff or gets shoved on by draws with tons of equity. Flat keeps the leash tight. Turn pairs the board. That card quietly helps Vanessa more than Shak. Sets are less likely now. Her jack stays very live, and a bunch of Shak's pair-based value gets neutered. He still has all the draws, though.
All in. And Shak shoves!
I call.
Vanessa calls! It's a 10!
That was not supposed to happen.